more than 2 decades now. And this is a show where we get the brightest minds in the industry to join me, and we talk about what's on their mind. And yeah, any questions, any comments you guys have, obviously you can go right here. We'll be watching this after, and any follow-up stuff you need, we'll be there for you too. So I'm not gonna waste any time. You guys know what you're here for, the Elon Musk of the industry. Jason Paris is here with us, and every second that I talk is wasting time that he could be talking. So Jason Paris, who else do we have here with us today?
Thank you for the introduction.
Yes.
Yeah, you came and we were talking about COVID and the impact
Yes.
and some of the financial decisions that we're making and kind of our perception on that. And I said, really, you should talk to Eric. So Eric joined about 2 months ago, stepped in as our CFO, and what a time to step in. And you know, we have really good conversations about futuristic thinking and first principle reasoning. And
Yes.
asking the why and kind of getting down to philosophical differences or kind of iterations of how we see things evolving over the next decade.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to talk about finances and kind of impacts of COVID on the economy. There's who we are going to talk to. So without further ado, the Charlie Munger of the painting industry.
Charlie Munger.
We got the Elon Musk, the Charlie Munger.
Eric Lindell.
Yeah.
Yep, I love it.
Well, Nick, thanks for having me. It's I'm honored to be on the show first time.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, like Jason said, I joined 2 months ago, and it's a very interesting time to be one, switching careers, also switching industries into the trades industries.
Yeah, so you left a real job to come here, right?
Yeah. I was in the financial services industry before this. It was actually a financial planning firm, so very involved in the stock market and managing people's wealth. And so,
What was your role there?
There was the director of operations, so I was managing really all the advisors and the internal operations for the firm. And I came over here, had a very interesting time, and the stock market took a big drop, and a lot of people are very nervous about what's happening in the economy, happening in just the overall outside world from COVID-19.
And we should give some people some background here. Paris Painting started with Jason Paris, right?
Paintbrush industry.
Paintbrush is still a paintbrush and a dream, some would say. And then over the last couple of years, give us the synopsis of what it is, when it was you painting versus what it is now and the mission.
Yeah, I think right place, right time.
Yep.
We have great people in the right seat. I think we've had an all-star team assemble over the last 3-4 years, where we've got, you can kind of look at the core leadership team. Chad is probably the best CEO visionary I've ever encountered.
So it started with you taking on a partner, Chad.
Correct.
And then
Actually Hogan would be the next one. So
Yep.
he's our primary salesperson in the building division. And then we have Mike, I think, was next. He's our VP of sales.
VP sales, so you had another sort of leader in the company then. Yep.
Yeah, Alex started out consulting and then became our president.
Yep. So that's a huge piece of that puzzle then all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You hired somebody to run your company for you.
Yep. And then Eric as the CFO, might have seen somebody. Mark was homegrown. Mark's our production, and he started out as a painter, has been homegrown. But those have been the major acquisitions.
So many big steps. You guys have a legitimate CFO. Big step for you, leaving a real job, coming here to grow with these guys. That's a huge, and then a couple of weeks later, COVID economy.
Yeah.
That's trying to fire, man.
On the PPP train.
It is, yeah. I think from what I know about kind of being in the financial services and then coming to the trades, there's kind of this revolution, actually in both industries, of institutionalizing your business. And I think the steps Jason was just talking about are steps to institutionalize or professionalize your business by getting professional management, by it's not just you that's providing value, you're actually building a business model that can sustain past your own lifetime potentially. And so that's really, I think, what the goal was and why I was brought on board is to do that. So.
And the general feeling in that when Jason and I talk, we feel like the trades is somewhere between 5 and 20 years behind the general real business world. You know, so what you guys are doing isn't something you laugh. I mean, you laugh because it's true or not true?
No, I don't know. I'm still getting my feet wet here.
So the general idea is what you guys are doing is what real businesses do. I mean, this is a general sort of structure, mission, goals, job descriptions, but it doesn't take place in the trades a lot. and you guys are innovative in that you're saying, well, why don't you take what works in the rest of the world and do some of it here, be innovative, be cutting edge, but bring a lot of basic business principles to something that doesn't have it.
Yeah, and there's reasons for that. I think why this is the last industry to professionalize. One is social stigma. And there's a real social stigma when you go, which is powerful, when you go to graduation parties, when you go to the Christmas party, and you say, so what are you doing with your life? Like, well, I work at a painting company.
I'm a painter.
And we've said this over and over, and they say, oh yeah, my uncle's a painter. He had his own business too. He was an alcoholic, but worked well for him.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, like it's actually a real business. And they're like, I know it's a real business.
You like painting, man.
And you're like, okay, so I think it's like you have to be able to overcome that, the social stigma that comes when you say, I own a painting company, and someone says, oh yeah, I've met painting owners before.
And almost everybody has had a summer painting job. They've known somebody who is. Yeah, you go get some sunburn, and
so there's that component, and I think there is a legitimate, at least in the initial scale, we've done a toughness or grit that's required that isn't required in scaling other industry sectors, right? So construction, the trades, painting, no exception, does require a certain amount of grit, a certain amount of toughness, just because you have a lot more kind of rough characters that you interact with than the other industries.
Yeah, true. So if you can summarize your role here in a sentence, what is your role here?
Yeah, I mean, my primary role is to steward the financial health and well-being of this company. Yes, that's overseeing the finances and the accounting and bookkeeping, but it's also really overseeing the investments that we're putting into different areas of our business. So are we going to scale by this method? Are we going to hire this amount of people? Are we going to add another role? I mean, these are decisions that we need to make as a company as we grow, but it needs to be done in a very thoughtful way and in a very profitable way. So really taking a look at the big picture and saying, how do we get to that big picture using the budgets that we have and using the resources that we have at our disposal.
So I don't think it's hyperbole to say 5 weeks ago, this was the greatest economy we've ever experienced. And it's maybe not that over the last couple of weeks, or maybe it still is, and it's a holding pattern. I mean, something has changed over the last couple of weeks. Where has your mind gone from, oh my God, we're going on with Paris, it's exciting, it's super progressive, we're gonna be doing this, COVID hits. How is your thinking shifting from the growth that was gonna take place to what's going on now? Same, different?
Well, I think it's been quite the roller coaster. So the moment I left my previous job, it was a great economy. I went on a nice trip. While I was on the trip, basically COVID hit, came back. A week later, started my job here, and things took a big nosedive. And so right away, I think it was very eye-opening. Hey, what steps are we going to take to continue to try to hit the goals that we set out this year to do, and learn over the next couple of weeks, like we're probably not going to hit the goals that we set out to do because of the impact of this. Kind of looking at things maybe a couple weeks after that, it's like, wow, things are not as bad as they seem. I think there's a lot of hope and optimism from even people at home that are working, and people here, people are wanting to get work done as they're at home. And so we're seeing leads and bid flow pick up, but we're also seeing the government step in and offer a lot of resources to help small business owners, to help employees. And so we've taken advantage of that, and we are going to try to take advantage of it as much as we can as a small business owner. And so,
and I would be remiss if I didn't, I would assume that your hands are completely around the EIDLs, the PPP, the this and that. Couple sentence breakdown for the painters watching. You probably have more of a knowledge than most people watching right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's two big government programs out there right now that it's through the SBA, and they're offering loans to small business owners. In some cases, those loans are forgivable. So if you're using loans to pay your employees and to pay your mortgage and some other small expenses, you can actually not have to pay that loan back. It's actually forgivable. So that's under the paycheck.
Percentage or the whole thing?
The whole thing. If you use up to a certain percentage for payroll and a certain percentage to other expenses.
Can't go buy a new truck.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't buy meals and entertainment and go crazy. But if you're using it to basically keep people employed and run your business, then the loan under that program is forgivable. And that's the Paycheck Protection Program loan. And then there's also another economic injury disaster loan through the SBA, and it's a different type of loan that you can get, and you have to pay that back, but it's actually a nice loan you get for your business. It's a pretty low interest rate, considerably. So these are two options that small businesses can take advantage of, and we are trying to take advantage of them as much as we can.
Yeah, and we should. We're businesses, we operate in this time, and it's available to us, and we should take advantage of all opportunities.
Yeah.
Jason Ferris, what occupies your mind most in times like this? What do you think about
I have been
most?
binging on mostly do you remember The Rock from WWE? Late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah.
I'm watching a lot of his
Also
content.
current movies.
I was gonna say, also very good.
Well, like,
Most people would know
Yeah,
from current projects.
he was like, finally, The Rock has come back to the city.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever did that. They're watching a lot of his highlights, and they also say, like, it doesn't matter, like, interrupt someone and say, it doesn't matter, and those sort of exciting moments too. So that's what I've been thinking about the past couple of days.
Professionalism.
Yeah.
In a deep thought experimenting thing, or both literally about professionalism?
Literally, I've spent probably a dozen hours watching The Rock highlights.
I know you do things very intentionally. What are you trying to squeeze that out? Or is this pure unintentional consumption?
I like theater. I like social interactions. And so it was good. Also, the Vince McMahon was just appointed. He was further this Vince McMahon was appointed like the economic advisor by Donald Trump.
Really?
For being the economy kickstarted,
Wow.
kind of thing. And so I know Vince McMahon had a big impact on Donald Trump's layout and style and strategy of his rallies. And he's spoken about that, or he's commented on it in articles. And so I think it's an interesting character to dig into and see what you can pull out of it. Right? There's a lot of theater involved, and you see kind of how to work large crowds. And I think you can always dig into stuff that's kind of funny and interesting, and then pull interesting pieces out of it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that's also a good kind of macro description of what we've done over the past 3-4 years has been phenomenal in that I don't really worry too much about the business because I know that Alex worries about it a lot.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
probably very stressed out right now. When it comes to the finances and PPP and EIDL, Eric worries about that. He worries about it more than I could. He's more confident than I am at that. Right? And so you kind of look at all these different parts of the business, and there are people who worry about it more than I do, and they're more confident than I am. And that gives me a lot of headspace to not have a lot of concern. When it comes to sales, Micah's much more talented at sales than I am, and he's much more worried about sales than I am, right? And so he's solving that. I don't worry about it. So
And so
that's kind of that started out like a funny answer, but it's
Yeah.
true. And then I kind of told you the why, and then we tied it back into pain so that your show has real content for me.
But the benefit of what you guys are doing is that you can divide up all the things that need to be done, specialize, and perform at a super high rate in one area.
Yeah.
So
And
that
this is the
one
pain point
person
numbers.
doesn't have to, you know.
Yeah, that's the pain by numbers concept that we kind of do with our own team internally. We say you specialize in what you're best at, and then build a structure around you that leverages that. What most painting contractors deal with is they have a super good skill set, whether it's production. It's usually production or sales, one of the two. One of the two main paint business owners are really good at admin, but they're usually or finance. They're really good at sales. Let's just use sales for example. They're really, really good at sales, but they are not, their skill set is actually governed by their organization around them.
Yes.
Meaning that it's like a funnel going down, as opposed to what I've experienced is, like I'm pretty good at admin, right? And my ability to do admin well is actually amplified by the systems that are built around me. So that's what you're describing, specialization, but a lot of people have phenomenal skill sets in one area, but it's not really blooming because everything else around them is suppressing it.
Yeah, agreed. Is this a lost year?
No, I think no, absolutely not. We might make more money this year. We might gain market share, and I think we can level up our team and our staff. I think we were talking previously, we're at better numbers this time of year than we were last year. We'll produce over 150K this week. We're on Friday at 10 a.m. We're sold at 100 grand this week. And people make decisions Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And yesterday we had 26 people call in to schedule estimates. Right, so we have not seen indicators. Now there was like a 2-week period where people were concerned and things were put on hold.
Yeah.
And then we've seen some of those people come back and say, how soon can you get us on? But we have not necessarily seen that big dip. Now that we might see a difference in our ROI on marketing, we may be spending more money on marketing this year to get similar results. But the ability to gather market share, level up the team, and likely be more profitable than ever, I would not count that as a lost year.
Oh, Hulk just walked in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this might be sort of first principle reasoning adjacent, but again, there's feelings and data, which is the feeling is there's a global pandemic. And the data is if you actually look at your business, you look at yours, you look at mine, the amount of leads is coming in. The workforce is generally strong. And if you're trying to solve a problem, for me, you can take in that piece of data that says there's a global pandemic, but if all the metrics and all the KPIs in your business don't change that much, it doesn't seem like you should go straight into crisis mode at that point.
There's a global pandemic. We have to change things. So you change how you do estimates, you change how people in the office can interact, you change social distancing guidelines. Like we obviously react to it, but you're right. We're still in one of the few services in this new economy, whether it's a new economy for a month, or a new economy for a year, or a new economy indefinitely. In this new economy, we offer one of the few services where there's still a supply and demand gap. There's more demand, even a suppressed demand, there's still more demand than the supply that's there. Even with increased supply, and I don't know if we're seeing a flux to the trades like we did necessarily in 2008, 9, and 10, where a lot of people became unemployed, and then painting's low-hanging fruit. If you want to start a company, you grab a paintbrush on a ladder and a truck. So we're not necessarily seeing that yet. And even if we did, I don't think it would make up for the attrition we've seen in baby boomers getting home from the trades. So it's still a supply and demand gap. Now, what has been affected by the pandemic is processes and what you're allowed to do, as well as maybe consumer confidence. But that, maybe we spent more on marketing this year, but it could be a year where we gain market share, we level up the team, and make more money than ever.
But like you said, we weren't on the razor's edge of supply and demand. It seems like there was still such a surplus of demand that even if that goes down a little bit, there's still an unmet need out there.
Yeah, this is a time where your marketing gets better than ever. Yeah. I mean, marketing for us historically has been good, but I'd also say it was probably driven by, I have brush, I paint. And that's all you had to say. They're like, you have brush, you paint.
You are available.
I give you
Congratulations.
money you. And it's just like,
yes.
it was basically your value prop was, I answer my phone, someone shows up to the appointment. That's a 40% SR off the bat. Just show up and give them a bid. And then if you can say they can get their job produced this month, 55% SR. And you charge more to get that SR down.
So I know that you guys, like me, are a big believer in face-to-face, in the house, print the estimate out on site. A lot of sort of like velocity of the estimate is kept high. What has changed with that? Because
I'm pretty insulated from the real world of what Mike is even doing. So I don't even know what we're doing for sales. I'm in some of these discussions, so I know they have 3 options. They can do a socially distanced estimate. They can do I'll call you on outside your house and I'll look at you in the window and I'll walk around my house estimate. And a completely virtual estimate where they take pictures around their house and they email it to us and we do that. But I have no experience in those things. I can talk to you about it.
I'd be curious to follow up with either you or Mike and figure out how much of the percentage of estimates has shifted. Because I know with me, it's been, I've been doing it for the virtual estimates for years. It seems like it's going to be something to stay. And it seems like people have now crossed the threshold of, we think it's a good idea, we trust it a little bit, but now it's like, oh, this is great now, because we're used to doing everything now, basically. You're calling your local cafe or going onto their website and doing an order for somebody where you would always drive into town and get it, so it's interesting. And I hope it's here to stay, because it's way better for us as business owners to do virtual estimates, and it's way better for people who have sound businesses, production rates, experience doing it, things like that. And it makes you sharpen your pencil and be more professionalized, that sort of thing. So
seems to be well around. I'd be curious to see Eric's insight on kind of macro economy discussions. So we're talking a little bit about all the government money that's being pumped out and some of the implications of that and what's happening. But better give you kind of an open soapbox to say.
Yeah, I mean, this is my own opinion. I'm not an expert by any means, but I think this is just traditionally what has happened. Yeah, this is traditionally what has happened in the past, right? The government pumps money into an economy, and that economy is sustained or inflated for a considerable amount of time. When I say that, like 1 to 5 to potentially 10 years. We've seen a nice recovery since 08, 09, obviously because of the government money that's been pumped into the economy. we once again pump more money into the economy through these lending programs and personal stimulus checks and other things that the government is doing right now. So I think there's probably a couple good years ahead if things can actually recover in the next month or so. If COVID lingers and there's a lot of other implications to this, I think there will be a struggle. But I don't know. From what I'm seeing, it seems like things are dying down. There's a lot of demand. People are just ready to get back to work and ready to move on with life. That I think I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. I think we're hopefully going to see some good years ahead from all this.
And economic things be damned. It's going to be 77 in Minnesota pretty soon. People are getting out of their like all of that social distancing. People are going to be a little less concerned when it's nice outside. You know, it's easy to Netflix at your house and collect unemployment when it's snowing in April, but it's a little different now when it's beautiful outside. You've been cooped up for 7 months. So, yeah. So any other deep thoughts, guys? I don't want to keep you too long.
Well, the one thing that I just heard you say in the past is talk about our positioning as a company, like how we positioned ourselves from these different avenues to scale and hit the demand when it comes. I thought that was very insightful.
Yeah. Okay, expand on that. We might see a more truncated season this year than other years. And so we specialize. It's such a funny term. And I laugh because I'm thinking about conversations I've had where someone will say, I specialize in good service. I specialize in quality.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But I'd say we kind of specialize in residential exteriors. We do a lot of them. That's 90% of our revenue is April through October. In Minnesota, that means that you have to scale up and scale down really quickly because we have a pretty short time window where that happens. You take into consideration April's a wild card, October's a wild card, and we have usually a month of rain. Actually, we all that, those holidays and all that fun stuff. This year might be more truncated. We haven't seen that come to fruition yet. But kind of our hope is that, not hope, but everything is, as PJ Fleck would say, everything is a situation, not a problem. We look hopeful in the way to win in the situation where instead of a 6 month or 5 month window, it's a 3 month window. Now everyone's trying to jam that revenue to a 3 month window. And it's really the professionalized companies that have the infrastructure in place to scale up and down quickly that can take advantage of that. Right? So maybe we would see estimates strung out over a 5 month period. All the estimate demand comes in a 3 month window. And people who have 1 or 1.5 estimators, they don't really scale past that. But if we have the ability, we have a VP of sales and a quick onboarding ramp and a built out process and structure, we can then scale up our salespeople quickly. That'd be a good situation for us to win it. Right? We feel confident to win that. And so we're optimistic on whatever situations may be. To that point in particular, we feel like we're really well suited to meet the exterior painting demands of Minnesota. And this type of situation only amplifies our strengths.
Very nice. All right, any last thoughts, guys?
Your beard is huge. I've never seen it this big. I've seen it this strong before, like dense.
But this is just grizzly. Yeah, this is what happens when you do nothing for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
This is aggressive beard.
Aggressive beard. No man, thanks Eric for taking some time on this. I want to get you introduce the people to Charlie Munger of Painting.
And this is perfect because it's indicative of all the people we've met. It's indicative of you when we first met, and it's a very interesting time that when you see the smiles and the calmness on these guys' faces, he left a real job to come here. You guys are in a brand new office building. You're going to grow this year. Yeah. And you guys are optimistic.
Yeah. We believe that our only competition will be our ability to execute our business model. And I feel really good about the ability to execute given the track record of the last half dozen years.
We'll end on this. Every morning, I start off by laying in bed for a couple minutes thinking about all the things that need to be done, and I get interrupted by something that you said all the time. Your voice is popping around in my head, and this goes for everybody out there. My direct messages, emails, phone calls have been crazy from painters all across the country saying, what the hell's going on? This is chaos time. I get interrupted by the thought of, if you think about it that much, you should probably do something about it. And it's the same thing. If you're worried about something or you're thinking about something, take some action. And that's a thought that interrupts every one of my thought processes. And it's your little head in the back of my head saying that over and over. It's inspiring and shameful, a good mix of both, to get out there and do something. So
well, I put 2 plugs in. One
yes.
for the Painting Contractors Association.
Yes.
we're both pretty involved in what they do, and they've been stepping up to the plate with resources lately. So if you're being a contractor looking for resources, I'd go to pcainced.org. The Painting Contractors Association has a lot of free information available right now. It's a nonprofit organization. Also give a plug for, I think we'll still do a December conference.
Yes.
It's called Paint by Numbers, something we did last year that was very successful.
Very
It's
impressive.
a complete open book look into how we scaled this businesses and the other business adventures we're going on now. Pull back the curtains, and we started as training for our own team, keeping everyone kind of in line with our open book value, kind of value of being open book and showing everyone very transparent on what we're doing. But then we have so many people around the country asking us, how do you do this, how do you do that, how do you work with subs, how do you estimate, how do you deal with this type of scheduling issue. So now let's just come to our training and you can watch what we teach our team to do. And then we said, let's get a bunch of people involved, let's call it Paint by Numbers, because that seems somewhat clever. And we'll do that separate again. So a little plug for that as well.
I brought my team to the last one. Honestly, the most dense, wonderful education I've ever seen. And you get the inside look. It's not like a tour through the office of one of the most interesting painting companies in the United States. You get an open book.
Very open book.
And very open book, the whole thing. So
It was shockingly open book.
shocking. You were a little surprised. I was
I was
like,
not-
Jason, you're showing people this? And you're like, oh,
Wow.
didn't know that.
That's a core value. There we go.
But anyway, don't miss it.
If you're interested on it, DM Nick or DM myself, and we'll get you on the email list. Let's get more details on that. We're obviously very cognizant of what's happening with COVID. We hope by December that this is a more appropriate thing to put out. Had great success last year. Thanks for letting me do that plug.
Thanks. And thank you for taking the time to do this too. It's this thing thrives on bright minds and thought leaders. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.